Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Save on select 3-quart mums. Right now, just 2 for $12. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/30 in-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
Simone Biles looks like she's ready for the Paris Olympics in 2024 right now. The African-American gymnastics superstar won the U.S. Nationals all-around competition Sunday in San Jose. At age 26, Biles is the oldest woman to win the U.S. Nationals. The 4-time Olympic gold medalist is making a comeback after taking 3 years off since the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. The Dodgers capped a 4-2 road trip with a win at Boston Sunday. Congratulations to the Little Leaguers from El Segundo. They beat Curacao for the Little League World Series championship. Louis Lappy hit a walk-off homer in the bottom of the 6th to win it for El Segundo. First Little League title for a team from L.A. County since a team from Long Beach won it in 1993. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
Through drought and famine, natural disasters, my baby has been around for me. Kingdoms are falling, angels be calling. None of that could ever make me leave. Yeah. Every time I look into your eyes, I see it. You're all I need. Every time I get a bit inside, I feel it. Ooh, who would have thought I'd get you?
KBLA Talk 1580. Yes, indeed. With all that's going on in the world, it is time for a Black Marriage Monday. This is where we focus on how to build the foundations of community with strong, vibrant family relationships, no matter what your configuration might look like. The folks that lead us in that conversation are truly inspiring. They're high school sweethearts. They've been together for 27 years, married for 20, and their love and devotion and their journey has been an inspiration to tons of people as they demonstrate their commitment to increasing the quality of relationships worldwide. Ayize is a therapist, teacher, speaker, and entrepreneur. He's a trained functional family therapist and professional social worker, certified marriage and relationship expert. His partner, wife, is also a healer, therapist, teacher, speaker, a trained psychotherapist, and clinical social worker who also happens to be a certified marriage and relationship educator. Ayize and Aiyana Ma'at, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us this morning. Yes, good to be with you.
Yeah, it's great to have you in as always. Of course, it's the 60th anniversary of the March on Washington. But one of the reasons I wanted to establish a Black Marriage Monday is that it seems like there's always a crisis, there's always a commemoration, there's always a reason to forget to focus on our interpersonal relationships. And of course, bettering our interpersonal relationships really means strengthening our own character. Would you agree with that, Aiyana?
Absolutely. You couldn't have said that better. I think so many times folks are wrapped up in all of the things that are happening in our world around us that absolutely have an impact, but we're not paying attention to how we're showing up individually, one-on-one. So we're fighting for the same things and paying attention to our rights and the injustices and the truth that needs to be spoken to power. But when we whittle it down, it comes down to looking at how are we acting and being in our own households. How are we relating to others? And I think that gets hard.
Yeah, it's easy and convenient to, forget about it. I think, Ayize, I don't know, I think I heard my mom or my dad or maybe their friends say the political is personal, the personal is ever political. Break that down.
Yeah, that's the absolute, truth. When we, take a look at the fact that when it comes to the interpersonal relationships, we do have these internal politics that exist in a household: man, woman, man, child, couple, child. And so you may have experiences where there may be at times, and from an unhealthy space, some triangulation that takes place, where some folks are teaming up, and these dynamics play out, within the family household. But then you have healthy dynamics that are also present in households, where there is a collaboration, where there is a collective thought, where there is, consistent conversation and equity in voice. And so, the personal definitely, bleeds into the politics, and the politics into the personal when it comes to, how you show up in the household. And of course, we want it to function in a smooth way. And, at the crux of all of that is, of course, communication. And for some odd reason, we just can't seem to get that together. Communication keeps on around.
Yeah. Well, and just like the Cowboys kids have no shoes, I mean, a lot of broadcasters I know can't communicate off the mic, but that's just a little sidebar. But explain, Ayize, if you would, the idea of triangulation. What does that mean?
Yeah, so triangulation is, what you see in interpersonal relationships where, let's just say you have a household that consists of two parents and a child, or one parent and several children. And it'll be an experience in which, you'll have those children, basically side with each other, and the parent may possibly fill in the outs. Or you may have the parents side with each other, or a parent and a child side with each other. And we typically see this when you have blended family dynamics at play, where there's some siding taking place, and so it's 2 against 1. And that right there is, definitely problematic because, again, you want to make sure that you're honoring each and every single person's voice, not to say that they're all equal, but that you're honoring each one and that there's shared vision, shared value in that experience. But if it feels like there's a dominant, way in which people are thinking and you feel like you're on the outside or you're an outcast and it's them against me, then that's when you'll experience that whole triangulation piece where you just feel like I'm the point, I'm the tip. And then the other two corners are, aren't necessarily with me. They're against me. So it's an idea that, again, emerges from, a place of there's others out there, and then I'm sitting here by myself. And so how do I make it so that it's more of a circle versus a triangle in our relationship dynamic?
Talking with Ayize and Aiyana Ma'at. And you, if you have a problem, or you don't want to have a problem, or you're just trying to get ready, are welcome into the conversation. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. It is a Black Marriage Monday only on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. People with disabilities are extremely talented, resilient problem solvers that have so much to offer. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for
I'm
details.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
I do appreciate you, and thank you for waking up with the Ma'ats on a Black Marriage Monday. So many times I think about how we are impacted by things in the news in our personal lives, and I think sometimes we know it, sometimes we don't. We're influenced by celebrities. We're influenced by hard news, sad news. And I remember one thing that I learned from my former husband, which is still helpful to me today, Aiyana, is this idea that there's no such thing as individual stress. If you live in a family unit, if you're part of a family system, one person's stress is household stress.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I mean, well, let me tell you something. That ain't nothing but the truth when I think about everything going on, even right now in my own life and in the life of my family. This is that piece that's really about all things being connected and all people being connected, especially in our relationships and in our family. So a lot of times I tell folks, especially those who tend to be less vocal, who don't necessarily express themselves as fully or as we might like for them to. Sometimes these folks are, self-described introverts and that kind of thing, that you really got to be intentional about sharing within reason what you're dealing with, what you're going through, that kind of thing, because if you do not, then you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're impacting and you don't even understand the impact. And so many times when we're working with couples, one person is looking at the other person and they're like, I wasn't even trying to do that, or I didn't mean it that way, or why? Because you're being impacted, so you show up a certain way. You have maybe more energy, more attitude. Maybe you're more closed or shut down. The other person doesn't know what's going on because the communication isn't flowing. So understanding that whether we think it or not, or realize it or not, we impact our partner, we impact other people, and we're responsible for the energy that we bring. And for communicating what we're going through, that is a vital piece, a really, really important piece.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about that communication. You mentioned it, Ayize, before we went to the break, that somehow we can't get it together to communicate. So let's talk about some basic tools. I mean, when I talked about this idea of individual stress, I think sometimes we're like, well, I'm going through something, so I'm just going to keep to myself, or I'm going to deal with this myself. But really, our families are impacted, or when we as a couple say, we don't fight in front of our kids, like as if our kids are not living in that environment and they don't feel the vibration. So, talk to me about some tools for effective communication and appropriate communication in those kinds of scenarios.
Yeah, I really do think that the biggest thing, and, a lot of people may say that I've heard that before, but really and truthfully, the biggest thing for us and what we've seen in the work that we do is that when you reorient yourself, when you really work on your mindset around your perspective or your perception as it pertains to your partner, who they are, what value they bring, what value you bring, then it impacts, it informs, and it influences how you show up, when you're communicating with your spouse or with your partner. And so the reason why I'm lifting that piece up is because we've seen over and over again that depending upon what's going on in the household, your mindset is what influences how you choose to show up for your partner, with your partner, or against your partner. And so what I would challenge folks to do respectfully is to just reevaluate how do you see your partner, how do you see yourself in a relationship? And if this is something that somebody or someone that you value and somebody that you want to be with, then again, the mindset that this person is with me and not against me is crucial when it comes to communication. We're entering into conversations in a combative way because the perspective or the idea that we have is that they're trying to get theirs, I'm trying to get mine. But the reality is that if we're both collectively trying to grow together and trying to win together, then it makes the conversation a lot easier. And so from a more tactical standpoint, what I would say is that when you do engage in these conversations, making sure that you're taking complete ownership for where it is that you are, and you're sidestepping, and you're not engaging in the blame game. And so we see that often as well. And so again, you want to make sure you're starting with I statements. Many of y'all have heard that before, using I statements. Own your feelings, speak about how you're feeling. That's a tactical way in which you can actually diffuse some of the conversations that might eventually come, because you're not talking about what they made you feel or what they made you do. You're speaking from a place of ownership. This is what I feel. And so you're owning your feelings. That's one thing right there that I would say that people can do to help to get through some of the more contentious conversations. Just own your feelings.
Yeah, well, a lot of us have heard it before. Are we practicing it? That's another question. But when you say I statements, you're talking about, say I'm in a conversation with you. And one of my favorite examples is the former president who's always saying, people are saying that, this and that, as opposed to saying, I feel like, or I think that, and when I did this happened. Because technically no one can make you feel any kind of way, right?
Yes, that's absolutely what I'm saying. And so if we just bring it to the household, whether it be in reference to conversations around the children or conversations around finances, you made me angry, you made me upset, you made me jealous, you made me afraid, whatever that emotion may be. A lot of times we're starting the conversations with you made me. And as you just said, Dominique, they can't make you feel, and the feelings are internal. And so, you and I could experience the same situation, but we have different feelings because of the way we're filtering what it is that we're experiencing. And so the feelings are coming from within you. And so if you say, I feel such and such when this happens, then it's not necessarily placing the blame on that person. You're identifying something external to the person, and so they don't feel responsible necessarily. And some people may still take it personally, but again, when you say I feel hurts, when I feel I feel afraid. I feel concerned. When I'm in the house by myself and late at night and you're not here with me. It's not saying I feel hurt or afraid when you stay out with your friends and you don't come home. It's a different experience, a different energy, because again, you're speaking about how you feel from a place of just owning your feelings versus blaming that partner for being out with their friends or whatever it is they're doing. So
Right.
again, that's a simple approach.
I mean, we're experts on what we feel and what we think, if nothing else. Aiyana, another thing that I've learned over time is whether it's in a love relationship or dealing with my children, my child and bonus child, is that anytime I hear myself saying, "you always," that's a red flag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you use the word always or even the word never, then we know that 9 times out of 10, you ain't telling the truth, or you're just in your feelings. And the reality is that folks do this in a lot of ways, Dominique, not even with just those words. Folks engage in what we call black and white thinking, where they can't see the gray in the situation. It's hard to be able to deal with their partner on some of the nuances of how their partner might be experiencing them. For example, I can remember, early on in our marriage, and, sometimes it might happen sometimes now, where I'm telling my husband, something about the kids. And I'm saying, I think you need to be more, for example, sensitive around how you're talking to so-and-so about this, or I'm trying to lift up, a different way to go about things, or how I experienced him as I witnessed him, talking to one of the kids or something like that. Or I need more help, right? Something like that. And so then what he goes into is, oh, yeah, but so are you saying that I'm not a good father? So are you saying that, since you always are making statements that, make me feel la-di-da-di, whatever, right? The point I'm making, Dominique, is that it's really difficult for us, myself included, to engage in the fact that two things can exist at once. I can be a good mother. I can have great intention, but I may not always be aware of my impact and the fact that it doesn't come across and match with my intention. There are these nuances and these little pieces of gray that, I didn't mean it that way, but that's the way it came across. And when I tell people, the way you can figure out your impact and how, your partner is experiencing you, other people you're in a relationship with, is not based on what you meant. It's just based on you asking the question. It really has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with what you meant. And I'm telling you, I've been there where I'm really it's hard for me because I'm like, that is not in my heart. But the measuring stick is based on how somebody experiences you. And guess what? Your partner may experience you one way during one season of the relationship, and you are the exact same way another season, and they don't experience you that way. And that's hella frustrating. But at the end of the day, this is what it means to be in real nuanced relationship and to live in the gray and to allow for people to be human beings and to also see yourself as somebody who's in progress, and in process, but also doing okay, but you got some stuff to work on. That's a hard thing for folks.
Yeah, I love that you said it has nothing to do with what you meant, because we always stand on, well, that's not what I meant, as if there was some, kind of creed that what you meant is what everyone is supposed to react to, as opposed to how you came across. That's where we get into tone and, like you said, the subtleties. And you've spoken, Aiyana, before about being, more hard earlier in the relationship.
Yeah.
And, again, I mean, I myself have been in situations where people think I'm angry or that I have an attitude, and that's not how I feel, but maybe because I'm exuberant or loud or whatever I'm doing at that moment. That's how they receive it. One of the things I found most helpful with that was, Jan Van Zandt says, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Yeah, that's good. We say, do you want to be right or do you want to be in a relationship?
Yeah.
And if you want to be in a relationship, you got to make room for somebody else's perspective, for somebody else's experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so when we talk about communication, this just hit me. Sometimes there was a meme on Instagram that said, arguing with me, is terrible because I knew I was wrong 10 minutes ago. I just want to aggravate you. So when I'm in a discussion, argument, or, even a clash of ideas with my partner, and I realize that I'm wrong, how am I meant to handle that? Some of us sometimes just cannot, figure out an off ramp. And I guess I'm going to ask you, Ayize, because, I'm not saying it's always the brothers, but
Yeah, and I'll speak with a complete ownership around this piece that I'm actually guilty of that, and so I'm lifting this up because, what I've seen in my own personal experience, but also with other men is, you're right, Dominique. Sometimes we have a hard time of, taking the exit ramp and moving away from the conversation when it's contentious. Here's the thing. It's important to really assess your motivation. What I've seen is that sometimes that these conversations are really starting from a place of me looking to experience some heightened level of intimacy with my wife. And so I may be looking for closeness. I may be looking for a touch. I may be looking for a kiss. I may be looking for a more in-depth conversation. And so in order to get into that, one of the pathways for me to experience my wife in a more engaged way is sometimes to start something. And so that's unhealthy because, again, it's a manipulative tactic to get my wife to engage to meet a need that I've had when I could just simply lift up and express what the need is. And here's the issue that I found is that sometimes when I'm using that unhelpful strategy to engage my wife and to connect with her by just simply poking at her, messing with her, and teasing her, then what I've experienced is that, I might find myself in deep water. And so when you talk about getting off the exit ramp, again, it's important that you pay attention to the tone of the room and the temperature of the conversation, because you might find yourself at a tipping point where you're in way too deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I've experienced that with my wife where, again, it starts off when I'm just really trying to connect. But because I say something dumb, say something that doesn't make sense, or say something to agitate or irritate her, then I find myself in extremely deep water where initially all I really wanted was connection. And so I have to take ownership of the fact that, lead with your intention, which is connection. And you don't have to go about it in some circuitous type of way. Be a grown man. Be a grown man and have that authentic talk. And, make sure you're not getting in too deep. And when you do, then, again, take ownership from that position and then exit immediately.
It's funny how we start stuff sometimes for different reasons, and I think attention, women do that too. I've done it. Start a fight because you want to be the focus of attention. And then, don't start, how do you started it, but you don't know how to finish it. People start fights because so they can go out and be apart and cheat on each other. They start fights for all kinds of reasons. And we just have a minute right here, but I guess, Aiyana, talk to me about the off-ramp a little bit.
I think, the short answer is that there is no magical formula. It's just practice. It doesn't feel good. It means we have to humble ourselves. It means we have to be vulnerable, but you just have to practice it. If there are people who practice being defensive and not owning stuff, we can also practice ownership. And the more we do that, the better we're able to hold space for other people. So you just have to practice it and know that it's going to feel funky. For those who have big egos, you're not going to like it. But the more you do it,
you're not going to like it. Be ready to not like it, but then feel better afterwards, I think. I think for me, sometimes just going, okay, that's a fair point. Oh, maybe I was wrong. Let me give that some more thought. There's a good off ramp. Let me think about that and let's talk about it, in some time. It feels better afterwards because you're not in crisis. You're in conversation. We're talking with Ayize and Aiyana Ma'at, marriage therapists. It's a Black Marriage Monday on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. More information on Tropical Storm Idalia. It's expected to turn into a dangerous Category 3 hurricane heading towards Florida's Gulf Coast. The National Hurricane Center said the storm is expected to be classified as a hurricane on Monday and make landfall in Florida Wednesday morning as a major hurricane. The center said dangerous winds and a life-threatening storm surge are very likely for parts of the state. Authorities in Jacksonville, Florida say the gunman who killed 3 people at a store in a predominantly black community Saturday had no criminal record. Officials noted Sunday that the 21-year-old shooter apparently purchased both of his weapons legally. The gunman took his own life after carrying out the racially motivated attack at a Dollar General store. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Save on select 3-quart mums. Right now, just 2 for $12. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/30 in-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
Simone Biles looks like she's ready for the Paris Olympics in 2024 right now. The African-American gymnastics superstar won the U.S. Nationals all-around competition Sunday in San Jose. At age 26, Biles is the oldest woman to win the U.S. Nationals. The 4-time Olympic gold medalist is making a comeback after taking 3 years off since the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. The Dodgers capped a 4-2 road trip with a win at Boston Sunday. Congratulations to the Little Leaguers from El Segundo. They beat Curacao for the Little League World Series championship. Louis Lappy hit a walk-off homer in the bottom of the 6th to win it for El Segundo. First Little League title for a team from L.A. County since a team from Long Beach won it in 1993. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Support comes from Getty, presenting The Gospel at Colonus, a theatrical event under the stars that reimagines the story of Oedipus. Blending Greek myth with Black spiritual practice, the show follows the blinded Oedipus as he seeks redemption after a lifetime of tragedy. Co-produced by Court Theater, conceived and adapted by Lee Brewer, with music composed by Bob Telson. Thursdays through Saturdays this September at the Getty Villa Museum. Tickets available now at getty.edu.
Are you looking for a tax preparation firm that understands the unique financial challenges of African American business owners? Then look no more. Wealth Management Financial Advisors can prepare and file your individual and business taxes. They're committed to providing their clients with the best possible service. See how they make the greatest impact on your taxes. Find them at wealthmanagementlb.com or call them at 562-427-8877. That's 562-427-8877.
Are you looking to steer your career in a new direction? Driving for the Culver City Bus can be your ticket to a long-lasting career with excellent benefits and paid training. Culver City Bus is looking for customer service and safety-minded bus operators to join the growing team. Culver City Bus offers on-the-job paid training, uniform allowance, and health benefits. Culver City Bus are now even putting their money in your pocket with a one-time $2,500 sign-on bonus. Let us connect you with an essential service job. If you enjoy driving, seek real opportunities for career advancement, and passionate about making a difference in your community, then we invite you to join the team. Start your journey by submitting an application at culvercity.org/job. For more information, visit culvercitybus.com or call the live customer service operator at 310-253-6500. Again, 350-253-6500.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Breathe happy Febreze.
KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
And we are doing the Black Marriage Monday thing. We've been talking about communication with Ayize and Aiyana Ma'at. They are the folks behind blackloveandmarriage.com, blackloveandmarriage.com. If you want to find out more, this is what they do. They're both family therapists. And we're talking about communication. And I was calling it off ramps, but there's also this piece about de-escalation, right? And looking at things in the news that impact us, make us talk, make us think. The terrible incident at the bar in Orange County where a man walked in and killed 4 people. John Snowling, his name, former police officer. His wife had filed for divorce last winter, and he killed 4 people and wounded her. And sadly, this isn't that uncommon. Intimate partner violence makes up 15% of violence in this country, which is really a lot, according to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. So these things, these de-escalation skills and how we communicate, it's more than just, are we going to have an argument? Are we going to get along? Are we going to have a harmonious household, right? And so talk to me, Ayize, about this idea of de-escalation.
Yes, absolutely. So when we think about de-escalation, just, imagine for a moment being at the height of an intense argument where, your heart is beating fast, your palms are starting to get sweaty, you're maybe even possibly sweating profusely. When you talk, your voice is elevated and you're experiencing this physiological response that has you really amped up. And so it's at this place right here that it's extremely difficult to make sound decisions because you're influenced by the overwhelmingness of what it is that you're feeling. And so the de-escalation piece is important because many times in your relationship, you're going to encounter situations where you're going to get upset, you're going to be angry. And so how do you talk or walk yourself down from a place of doing something that's catastrophic or even minimally disruptive in the relationship? And so what we say, and we have several different approaches that we take from the macro to the micro. And so just looking at the macro perspective, one of the biggest things that we utilize to help in this space is community. I want to emphasize that over and over and over again because when you have other people that you can go to and talk to, other men, other women who may have had a similar experience, what it helps to do is it provides framing, it provides context, and it provides a different perspective on how you can engage and approach the situation. So be in communities with like-minded individuals who are growth-minded and who are looking to make their relationship work. That's one thing right there. The other thing is that when it comes to de-escalation, be aware of how your body is responding. And so we often say that if you're the type of person that likes to do a lot of, big movements with your hands, with your body, a lot of gesticulation that takes place, when you're conversing with somebody, put your hands in your pocket. From a tactical standpoint, just by you making that first step of putting your hands in your pocket, that can signal the brain to, in some ways, subtly slow down, calm down. You also want to make sure you're managing your breathing in that process by taking deeper breaths, longer inhales and exhales while you're in the course of conversing or if you're listening to your partner speak so that you can manage your emotions in that moment. Another piece, too, tactically, what you can do is if your partner is standing up in their height, what you can do is, sit down. Sitting down signals a shift in the brain, which says that I'm resting. I'm taking an opportunity to pause. I'm not matching your energy. I'm not meeting your energy. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down to try to divert the conversation, de-escalate the conversation, and, reduce the possibility of it becoming even more heightened by me standing up and being up in your face. And so I do think that by, implementing some of these tactics, that what happens is that it helps to diffuse which would otherwise become a very messy, and possibly a catastrophic situation. So again, making sure you're putting your hands in a place that, in your pocket, sitting down if you need to help to calm yourself, and making sure that you're engaging in some form of deep breathing to regulate your emotions.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're describing is de-escalating oneself as much as the other person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's 100%. Important. Even when it comes to the other person. Again, using what I mentioned earlier in terms of I statements in reference to how you feel. Another piece too is that when you start to notice that somebody is starting to get heightened, you can point process. And what that essentially means is that you identify a difference in their behavior. You may even possibly inquire about what the emotion is that they're feeling behind that behavior. And then you can address whatever concerns that they may be having in reference to what's leading to them expressing themselves in a way in which they are. So this can happen prior to them reaching a heightened state. Again, you point process, and that can be helpful.
Aiyana, I once had a person tell me in a relationship during a breakup, this is war. And, that I had to say, well, you're going to be at war by yourself because I'm not going to war. But many times for me in my life, I admit I do have a bit of a temper. It's the other way. Oh, yeah, it's war, So making different choices, I guess, is what I'm asking you about. Making different choices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, what you're really kind of pointing to is the foundation of what we talk about all the time. We are significantly impacted by our partner, people we're in relationship with, whether we realize it or not. But fundamentally, I say this all the time to folks, you are responsible for yourself. Like, I'm responsible for myself, how I'm feeling, how I'm responding to my feelings, my personal awareness of my feelings, my ability to own my vulnerabilities and where I mess up, my circle back game, as I call it, to be able to come back and fess up that, I could have done better. And at the end of the day, it always comes down to what we decide we're going to do. We don't have to attend every fight that we're invited to. We can absolutely take a position and say, I'm not going to be stuck. I talked to so many folks over the years who are dealing with, really funky dynamics in their relationship, and it's not simple. It's complicated. There are layers to it. There are children involved. There's lives that have been melded together, and it's not simple. And yet, I still say, but you still don't have to be stuck. Your partner's movement or lack thereof does not indicate whether you have to stay in that position. And that really is a mindset piece. It takes a minute sometimes, and I have to do this for myself, for folks to, recognize, wait a minute, so what do I want? What do I need? What do I think is reasonable? And let me put that forward. And then when my partner, whoever I'm dealing with, responds, then I have another decision to make or another step to make. But I don't have to figure it all out. But what I do have to do is be honest about what I need and recognize that I am responsible for, creating what I want in my life. And people will either rise to meet me or I'll find that I have outgrown them, one way or the other. I don't have to stay stuck.
Talking with the Ma'ats, Ayize and Aiyana. It's a Black Marriage Monday on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 is inviting you to join us on Saturday, September 16th, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for our very first economic empowerment event for the community. This event is free and is powered by Caltrans. We're doing this in association with Rambo House, and here's Rambo to tell you more.
Contracts. I'm going to say it again for all of us small business owners out there. Contracts. Rambo House, KBLA, Tavis, me. Oh my God, this is going to be massive. I truly thank Caltrans for giving us the opportunity to focus on contracts. Listen, that's what it's all about to be a small business in LA. That's how we hire our own. That's how we expand our community is contracts. KBLA1580.com is for you to have a seat at our contracts-focused event. Contract Ready does it again. We had over 900 last time. So you guys know how exciting this is. And if you just think that you want to get into contracts and you're close to it, Bring your friends out for September 16th at the Marriott Hotel. Listen, you know where to register. KBLA1580.com. Come see me. I can't wait to see you. Let's do it, Tavis.
So be sure to go to KBLA1580.com for all the details. We'll see you Saturday, September 16th.
You're listening to K-Trip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like Watering Your Lawn During the Hottest Time of the Day and Leaky Faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Trip.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
And we're doing Black Marriage Monday on this, the anniversary of the March on Washington. So many things going on in the news. We're steadfast. The last Monday of the month, we talk about relationships. We're going to do better, and we're going to know better. Ayize and Aiyana Ma'at are certified marriage family therapists. Is not just any old buddy. And they do a lot of couples and family work. BlackLoveAndMarriage.com. BlackLoveAndMarriage.com. Now, remember last time you guys were on, we talked a little bit about Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson, her boyfriend, and all the drama because of, you know, her going to Usher, Mr. Homewrecker, going to his concert, and, you know, all of everyone's opinions about them online and the rumors. And apparently she just celebrated her big 3-0. And they appear to be very much together, appear to be very much in love. He took her out for her birthday, posted a bunch of sweet things on socials. She, the same. So what do we learn from that? Ayize, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so, you know, we speak about this often in the work that we do. And what's funny is that we actually, inside of our community, our Black Love and Marriage community, we had a virtual date night, and we actually brought this situation to the table. And I seem to be the odd man out in reference to, you know, my approach regarding this situation. Everybody else was like, I don't see what the big deal is. But you know, even with that being said, I think that what we always lift up, and it's important for everybody to internalize that in order for you to have a successful relationship, it's important that you're aware that there has to be some level of relationship elasticity. And so when I lift up relationship elasticity, what I'm speaking about is the ability to stretch and then to expand and contract. And I think that sometimes people don't make room for the expansion and contraction, and they think that it's just supposed to be one way all the time and look a certain way all the time. And so when it comes to their specific relationship dynamic, yes, I do think that some of the things that were said and the way in which they were said and even some of the things that were done were out of pocket. But it's their relationship. And so, again, it being their relationship, they have the ability to expand and contract. And what we end up doing on the outside is that we judge that. But a healthy relationship is going to go through those phases. And when you're in an unhealthy relationship, what happens is that you have this relationship rigidity, which doesn't allow room for expansion and contraction. You just want it to be your way. And so, again, we on the outside are judging what's going on with them, but it's important that we make room for their relationship to breathe and for it to go in the direction that it's going in. I mean, they have a child, and so I think that ultimately I want what's best for the child.
Yeah, I was rooting for them. I've been rooting for them, not only because they're a cute couple, but because they have a new baby, and it's not hard. It's not easy to find your person. Aiyana, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I actually didn't know that they were, all good. I'm really happy to hear that. I saw was that video that Kiki put out with Usher, when he was talking about, is your man looking for me? I'm wherever you are.
Right,
right.
The song. Yeah.
You two are the king and queen of petty. They're like, they're gonna find a way to get to the bag. Period.
Yeah, that made me wonder if the whole thing was a setup. If we were just being naive, and her and Darius were fine all along. But
right. You just don't know. So I was, I think at the end of the day, like Ayize said, this is why for celebrities, but we can take this down to us regular, everyday people. We have to be mindful about putting our business out in front of the world, putting our business out in front of our family, our friends, right? Like, it's not that you can't share, and we're, like my husband said earlier, we're about having community and having a village to support you, but your village has to be, really hand selected. And just because you have kinfolk who love you, all your kinfolk don't know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? So you have to pay attention to that, because if you allow your stuff to be out there, and it's going to be judged. And I'm again happy to see that they're, coming back together and that kind of thing. But there's a whole lot of funkiness all up and down the internet streets. And, that's just a lot for anybody to deal with.
For real. I mean, her birthday was Saturday night. But, yeah, I saw the music video, it's like, okay, that's one way to promote a song. Or end a marriage or whatever. So I hope that, I wish them the very best.
Absolutely.
Speaking of all the messiness in these internet streets, Steve Harvey has been the target of a big bunch of rumors that his wife was cheating on him and he was getting a divorce. And, I used to work with him every day. I was one of Harvey's angels many years ago. And I know his bodyguard, Boomerang, that they said Marjorie was cheating with. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I mean, look, if she was at an Usher concert, maybe, but not Boomerang. Boomerang that's if you knew Boomerang, you would laugh at that. But that said, now Steve Harvey came out and made a statement about it. He says, we're fine. Of course, that set the internet even more on fire, dealing with those rumors, those public statements, even when they're not coming from you. I want to get your take on that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Here comes the brand new flavor in your head.
Race, social justice, sports, politics, art, music, culture. We do it all on the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show. If you're not tuning in, then you are definitely missing out. It's the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show, weekdays from 2 to 4 only on unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
Like a brand new flavor in your head. Yeah.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
I think we are all getting better at this relationship thing due to Black Marriage Mondays. Today's episode of First Things First is brought to you by Wealth Management Financial Advisors. Whether you're married, single, in a relationship, or not, they can help you. They have tax services, financial planning, and so much more. Whether you're an individual or a business, find them at wealthmanagementlb.com. That's wealthmanagementlb.com. So I threw out the messy Steve Harvey story. I used to work with him every day. Boomerang's like a retired pimp. He's an older dude. He's a hat-wearing, cigar-smoking Steve Harvey, in-group guy. There's no way he's sleeping with Marjorie. But that's not the point. The point is it went wild on the internet to the point where Steve actually had to address it. And I wonder what this brings up for you. You want to start, Aiyana?
Sure, absolutely. So, it's so interesting to me because as this has been swirling around, as far as I know, these rumors started just yesterday, and it just took off like wildfire. That they're getting a divorce, and that Marjorie is demanding $200 million and half of his net worth, and all kind of stuff. And I think that the piece here is that there are a lot of things. This is the way I'm looking at this. There are a lot of things that can come to a relationship to disrupt it, to challenge it, to challenge your communication, because according to Steve, as you said, these are unfounded. This is gossip. This is not true. But I'd love to know, how their communication is during this time. They're not new to this. They're true to this. So I'm sure they're not, new to having rumors out there. But if we think about this in the context of how we live our lives in our daily relationships, we got to be able to communicate and share how it makes us feel, or what where did this come from? Does it create questions in your own mind? Well, why are they saying this? How do we deal with stuff that comes outside of our house into our awareness, and that we are we know it's not true, but wait a minute, how is this impacting us? I think it's always an opportunity to really strengthen your bond. Challenges can either strike couples down because they don't communicate and they don't share honestly and transparently and don't make room for one another, or they can really strengthen them and make them stronger. And I just hope that they're on that side.
The internet better be wrong, because they said when they break up in 6 months, we'll be laughing at you. But I don't think so. I just don't see it. Not to say, well, I'm going to leave that there. Ayize.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when you speak about the internal and external messiness, specifically that comes from the internet and everything that everybody else is saying, I think that it is important that their household is strong, as my wife already alluded to. Making sure that you're strengthening your own internal fortress, so that no matter what onslaughts may come your way, you're prepared, you're equipped, and you're ready to deal with it. I mean, because this stuff is going to come, and my hope too is that 6 months down the line, that it doesn't, manifest into being something that was actually true. And if it does, because when I speak about relationship elasticity, it goes both ways. You can stretch and come back and it be good. You can stretch, and sometimes that thing may snap and it not be good. But if it does end up being bad, the reality is that, again, we want them to be healthy and whole individuals. As we always say, relationship work is personal work.
Well, as always, it's been enlightening and wonderful. I think we're all learning from you guys, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having us, as always.
Yeah, Ayize and Aiyana Ma'at. You can find out more at blackloveandmarriage.com. That's blackloveandmarriage.com. And while you're on them internets, stay with the positive. Go to KBLA 1580. We're on all the socials, and you can find me at DePrima Radio, DIPRIMA. Before I get out of here today, I do want to say rest in peace to Emmett Till. Gone too soon, but never, ever forgotten. on this day in 1955, he was murdered. Tavis Smiley's up next. He's an historian. I'm sure he'll delve into all of that and much, much more. I'm Dominique DePrima. History is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, be safe, be well, communicate. One love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.